Hi, my name's Cindy Bourgeois, and I did a Master of Divinity at Emmanuel College from 2006 to 2010. I am in Regina working as a United Church minister. I was ordained in May of 2010, and I'm a minister here in Regina. Well, at first I just went back. I was expecting, like a university type event, which it was. I was impressed with the food when I got there. And don't underestimate the food. And so I went there with an open mind, and I was expecting something hopefully kind of interesting, and it was very interesting from the get-go. And really, for me, it was like St. Mike's and multi-faith center. I don't know. I remember getting put in this sort of like, it wasn't a very nice room, to tell you the truth. It was like very brightly lit and white and plain, and a little bit like interrogation room from The Prisoner or something like that. I liked the lighting at St. Mike's, and the whole building was dark except we were in the cafeteria room, and I don't know, it must have had some sort of pot lighting or something. It was a very unobtrusive lighting, and I'm very sensitive to lighting. That kind of made me feel calm. I remember lots of the hot food in those university steam tables. Like you felt like there was a lot of food, you'd have to worry about it. And getting to know people, and I met new people, I'm sure, on the first night. I remember as a Catholic ethicist, I don't know if you're aware of how the Toronto School of Theology works, but there's 7 different colleges, 3 Catholic, 2 Anglican, United Presbyterian. So, we were all connected. So, had the Catholic ethicist who was like, the type of person who tells you what the Catholic Church says about all body issues and reproductive issues. And she was a respected scholar, I think. I can't remember her name, but white lady. So that was interesting. She said that you could only have sex if it led to reproductive sex. I do remember asking for sure myself, what about oral sex? And she said, as long as it ends up in reproductive sex, yes, it's fine. So I mean, I admit to a little bit of shit disturbing there myself, but I think the planning was always very open. And I think anybody who went to them got to have input. They're very open about saying, who do you want? One moment that's weird, if you want one of these, is that I wasn't there, but this event has still affected me. There was this young, closeted Muslim man, very nice guy, very intelligent, funny and everything. They brought an Imam there who basically said that it's a sin. And apparently he was very emotional. And I just heard the story afterwards. And he was very emotional and said, you're not going to give me anything. There's nothing, you don't have anything for me. I think it was a welcoming space, for sure, a very welcoming space. And I think that might have created a feeling of safety and comfort in speaking out, so that this, young Muslim kid could speak to a imam that way. There's a comfort in the discomfort, I guess. And maybe it comes from people, disparate, getting to people of disparate backgrounds, but coming together on this queerness thing, that it was, at some level, it stripped away a barrier there, or made a pathway around a barrier in some way that might have been there otherwise. I don't know. In 2007, or maybe it was just me, that was almost before Facebook. I was the first trans person everybody met back then. I had been transitioning for just like a year or two. Every space I went into was like, no one knew anything about trans people, and it was like that it wasn't intensified or anything by going to a QR event at all. It was actually an easier place in many ways to go, because I could just say, well, look, I'm queer, leave me alone, right? I know not all queer spaces are like that, but I have that right to feel that way. Community is a word that it's hard to, it's kind of like nailing down Jell-O, right? We were just all happy to be around a bunch of queer people
and able to show our faith as well. That was an important thing, was that, for every one of us, we faced like discrimination for being queer and trying to still, but like we're all still interested in our faith and what it meant to be a religious or a spiritual person. So it was all, there was that common feeling, and it's also like kind of like it was a rare space because religion and queerness are supposed to not mix, right? So, and I guess they don't in many ways. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch. I haven't been in the university for 7 years, so maybe, all religious people get along with all the queer people. I don't know. So I still think it needs, it's something, there needs to be a space of somewhat, of some sort.